Good morning and welcome to the Bible in 1 year. My name is Leilani, and today I am excited to share this new book and this new chapter with you. And before we just jump into the chapters that we are reading today, I think it's good to just recap and see what the purpose of this book is all about. Because we know that Moses wrote this book, but now we learn that Moses wrote it to remind the Israelites of what God had done and to remind them of what God expects of them. The name of this book literally means second law, because Moses gives the law for a second time. And the chapters that we read this week, from 1 to 4, Moses reviews some of the details of the past history of Israel, such as the Exodus and also the wandering in the wilderness. But then he also urges them to obey the laws of God. So basically, Deuteronomy is about a sermon Moses gave to the Israelites before they enter into the promised land. So as this book is renewal of the law and learning and leadership, I think we can quickly look at today's chapter. But I want to focus more on Deuteronomy 4, where Israel is urged to obey God's laws. And when we read this chapter, verse 1 and 2, I'm reading from the Message translation. It says, "Now listen, Israel, listen carefully to the rules and regulations that I am teaching you to follow, so that you may live and enter and take possession of the land that the God of your fathers, is giving to you. Don't add a word to what I command you, and don't remove a word from it, but keep the commands of God, your God, that I am commanding you." So throughout this journey, we know that Israel was challenged to show obedience to God countless times. And sometimes they failed, and they also often succeeded. But now again, Moses urges them, strongly, persistently tells them to obey God's law. And they were not to forget the covenant that God made with them, but to stand in remembrance and not forget. In reading this, I asked myself, but why? Why tell them again? They're supposed to know this by now. But it shows me the heart of God that doesn't want to just leave them wandering off. He says, let me just remind you again. Let me just show you guidelines again, just to keep you in check, just to keep you in place. Because my heart is to protect you and not to see you just wander off. And I think it was almost a situation like this where Moses had to remind them of what God delivered them from. Even though he is giving the promised land to them, they should not forget the structures and the law God put in place to protect them. It's all about protection. And I love the fact that he loves them so much in teaching all these things to them. Again, God doesn't get tired of showing things to us countless times. He does it for our protection, because sometimes we don't listen the first time. So he just comes with a gentle heart and says it to us again. And in reading this, I think we can all associate with a time or place where God reminded us of his guidelines, so that we can stay in check and not wander around when we get what we waited for. In his protection, he will always surround us. His protection will always surround us. And my desire, because we are reading this book together, my desire is that we don't see his laws and regulations in a negative way, but as a protection from the Father's heart. I am excited to share this journey of Deuteronomy with you.